Are you looking to get on the road to your dream career? You're in the right place. Welcome to the Mentor Select Podcast with your host, Derek Phillips. Always stay up to date on social media at Mentor Select and online at mentorselect.com. Here's your host of the Mentor Select Podcast, Derek Phillips.
Welcome to episode 33 of the Mentor Select Podcast. Really appreciate you all joining us this week. It's always a pleasure having you. If you haven't had an opportunity to like, subscribe, share the Mentor Select Podcast on iTunes or whatever platform that you're listening on, be sure to do so. Sharing the podcast, letting your friends and family know about it. It really helps the Mentor Select community grow, which in return helps more people benefit from the quality virtual mentorship that our guest mentors are providing. It truly is really an honor having these successful people come on and share their story with us and give us advice how we can advance our career and just grow personally and professionally. This week for me has been pretty good. Just another productive week on the grind, continuing to do all I can to grow the Mentor Select brand and establish myself as a motivational keynote speaker, trainer, author. And speaking of being an author, I'm actually in the final stages of finishing up my first book. So stay tuned for that. I'm in the design phase now. So designing the cover, the format, just all of the logistics that goes behind publishing a book. But I can't wait to share with you all the opportunity to purchase the book and learn more about me. I talk a lot about my childhood and just that adversity I had to overcome to break the cycle of poverty. It's exciting. This is my first book, so looking forward to y'all reading it. Today I have a remarkable guest mentor on the show, Byron Stamps, who is the founder of Truth in Comedy Dallas. And the first time I went to a Truth in Comedy show, I was really blown away by the experience. It's such a unique version of comedy that ties in people sharing their life stories, really being vulnerable and open. And then a comedian is following up with a set, essentially making light of perhaps a dark situation. And I love that concept because it shows that no matter what we're going through, no matter how hard life is, no matter what adversity we're facing, there's always a silver lining, and we always can make light. We always can laugh in our darkest hours. And that laughter is what gives us that energy, that resilience to keep going, to get back up when life knocks us down. So really this Truth in Comedy concept encompasses all of that. And it's really a mind-blowing experience. And I'm happy for Byron. Actually, today they're celebrating 2 years of him launching the show, and they're doing a big showcase tonight. So I'm going to add links to the show in the comments and the show notes so you all can have opportunity. If you're in the Dallas area, certainly go check it out. You won't be disappointed. So Byron was a former teacher, and he's just going to share his whole story about how he made that transition from the classroom into being a stand-up comedian and developing Truth in Comedy. This is certainly a show you want to learn all you can from Byron. You're going to truly be inspired to follow your dreams, whatever they may be, after hearing Byron. I won't keep you waiting any longer. Let's get to the interview. All right. Today we have Byron on the Mentor Select Podcast. Welcome, Byron.
Darius, thanks for having me.
Pleasure. How are you today?
I'm good, man. Taking it easy on this good Tuesday morning. Afternoon.
Right. Glad to hear that. All right, Byron, on the Mentor Select Podcast, we like to get to know our guest mentors a little better. So do you mind telling us something that most people don't know about you?
Something most people don't know about me is I'm a chess junkie. Like, I love to play chess. So I'm a big chess nerd. A lot of people don't know that about me.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah.
I don't know too many brothers that play chess.
I know, right? Yeah, that's why a lot of people don't know, because most of my friends and stuff don't know how to play.
But that can work in your advantage. People underestimate you.
Exactly.
That's cool. That's ironic. I was watching news this morning. They were showing that I guess the World Chess Championship or something is going on
Okay.
now, and they're saying maybe an American may win it this time
Oh wow.
for the first time in a long time. So,
It's been forever.
cool. So, how'd you get into chess? Is it something you started as a child?
Yeah, I went to this I was in elementary school. I think I was like 6th grade, and they had this program in school called the lead program. So they take
Hmm.
students and they just it was kind of like a little advanced student class. And and one of the things they taught us was chess. And
Okay.
like I started playing, like I just got addicted. And then we had this tournament, and I finished like second place in the tournament.
Okay.
And that just like really sparked like my passion for chess, and I went years and years after that 6th grade year, without playing anybody. And I kind of picked it back up in college. So it's
Okay.
been a big little hobby of mine.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely can help as far as being strategic and
Absolutely,
planning. So
absolutely, man.
some I don't know how to play, but yeah, I certainly want to teach my kids because
Yeah. It's definitely a
that's
great game to know.
that's a valuable skill, certainly. All right, Byron, cool. We're here in the Mentor Select podcast. We really encourage people to follow their passions and really try to transition from maybe a job that they hate to something that they actually love doing and something they feel is their purpose. So can you tell us how you're following your passions?
The way that I'm following my passions, Derek, is I love comedy. So I just decided, I made the decision to just take that leap, forget the fear, and just jump all in with comedy. And since about, I'd say, I was a teacher before as my career profession. And my last school year was 2015-16. And I'd been debating it for a few years at the time. And I just decided it was time for me to just, forget the fear and just take that leap and jump all in with comedy, not necessarily knowing like what I wanted it to be in particular, but I jumped, and now and after that, I really formed my vision of what is comedy to me, what I want it to be, and I feel like I'm headed in the direction I feel like I should be headed in.
Awesome. So you really took that leap, you say, in 2015?
Yeah, 2015, 16 was my last year teaching.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. So are you doing comedy full time?
I am.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's I like you use the phrase take the leap because that's certainly what it is when you
Insane.
take on being an entrepreneur, especially comedy, something that's competitive as being a comedian.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that takes a lot of courage.
Yeah.
Talk more about just how you built that courage up to take that leap. What was that process like?
For me, it was I started doing comedy. I was the first time I ever got on stage doing comedy. It was like 2001.
Okay.
I was in college. I was kind of struggling in school at the time, and I just one day just said I'm gonna go do an open mic. And I was living in Mississippi at the time, so I drove to Memphis, Tennessee, and did an open mic. I just loved the feeling, and I didn't do great, but it was just something I just enjoyed the feeling. I said I'm gonna keep doing this.
Mm-hmm.
But there was really no comedy scene in Mississippi at the time. And I really didn't, think it was something that I could do for real. I continued through college, had a wife, kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped doing stand-up after doing it for maybe a year. But it was always on my heart. And when my family and I moved out to here to the Metroplex, I joined the class with Dean Lewis, a stand-up comedy class, and it was just like riding a bike. I just picked it up and I said, I'm not going to stop doing it. But at the same time, I'm working and teaching. And over the years, I think that was 2009 up until 2015, I was teaching, doing stand-up most nights. And some things started happening. I started getting to comedy festivals, traveling more,
Okay.
getting some little paid gigs. And I just started to feel like I just had to give it a shot. I just had to give comedy a shot and see if I could really do it. And, after some long conversations with my wife, I kind of told her my ideas and what I wanted to do. I finally built up the courage, to say, okay, I'm all in. This is what I'm about to do. And, it's been on from there.
Wow. That's a great story. That's something I can certainly relate to. And that conversation with your spouse.
Oh man. Oh man. Yeah.
You definitely got to build the courage for that.
Oh man. A ton of it.
It truly is invaluable though, having a spouse that's willing to support your
Oh yeah.
dreams.
No, definitely. Yeah, I told her I can't do it without her.
Right.
I gotta have her support, to be able to make it happen. She's got to be all in with me because this road that I'm traveling on right now is difficult.
Right.
And
Yes,
when
and
she gave her blessings, I was like, let's go.
let's do it. No excuses.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
exactly.
Love it. Yeah, we had Chris Gardner. I'm not sure if you know him, but he's a stand-up comedian in the DFW area.
Okay.
We had him on the podcast. He travels around with D.L. Hughley.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he gave a lot of good advice about just the world of being a comedian.
It's a grind. It's a road, man.
But yeah, when it's something that you love doing, like I say, it's been on your heart, you got to do it because indeed. So you mentioned earlier about just your vision of what comedy is to you. Can you tell us more about that? What is your vision?
For me, the more I thought about it, like I really want to do comedy that connects and impacts people, in a profound way. Because like I come from a teaching background, and one of the things I really liked about teaching was just building the relationships and getting students to like believe in themselves, and just that impact you have on the individual is something I really crave as a teacher. And like I actually, I crave that in comedy as well. So like I just really wanted to do comedy that connects people and has a profound impact on individuals. And I think, truth and comedy like is really like something that really does that. And I'm really, proud of.
Certainly, I had the privilege of I think it was 2 months ago, the first time I came to a Truth and Comedy show that you had put on, and I was blown away because it was a new experience for me.
Oh wow!
I really loved the experience, and the following month I had the opportunity to actually tell my truth at your show. So that was awesome. Kind of it's a very empowering, liberating experience. Can you tell us more about Truth and Comedy?
Well, Truth and Comedy, it's a storytelling / stand-up comedy / art show. You have 3 individuals that'll come up and they'll tell a story from their life, very open, honest, and vulnerable. Like I remember, when you got up and told your story, I remember you saying, you were telling your truth that you had never said to anybody. You never told it before to anyone.
Right.
And I told my truth on the very first show about, my mother passing, which is something I never talked to anybody about. And it's just, having people being open, honest, and vulnerable, talking about the things we don't talk about. A lot of times people talk about mental illness, loss, drug addiction, all kind of things. And then after that person tells their story, you'll have a comedian that will come up and perform a stand-up set inspired by that story. And then at the end of the night, an artist has created 3 separate paintings, which they call a triptych, inspired by the stories as well. And it's just something just to show that, like, no matter what we go through in life, you can always find something to smile and laugh about. That's really like the purpose of Truth and Comedy, just to get people talking about things they don't necessarily talk about, but in a fun, loving, entertainment environment.
Yeah, it certainly is a unique experience. I loved it, and I certainly can see you going very far with that concept because it's, like I say, it's unique, and then it's just so powerful, and it's needed.
Appreciate it, man.
There's a lot of things that people don't talk about, but that is a form of therapy, getting up there and sharing your truth, and other people can relate to it and to resonate with people, and it's powerful. I loved it.
Oh yeah. A lot of people like to, say that it's cathartic, it's therapeutic. I think those are some great words that describe, the experience.
Yeah, and it ties into, like you said, your vision for comedy is really impacting people's lives. So, take it beyond just laughing and take it to a whole nother level.
Exactly.
That's cool. So, when you were a teacher, what subject did you teach, and I guess what grade?
I spent my first 3 years when I was in Mississippi. I taught math my entire career. I taught middle school math and elementary school math my first 3 years in Mississippi, and then when I moved out here to Texas, I taught high school algebra and geometry And I also taught my last 2 years, I taught a team leadership class as well.
I know now that you're in a different capacity impacting lives, but yeah, it's any part of you miss teaching?
Sometimes I do. I miss the kids. I miss working with those kids and just, it's kind of hard to explain the feeling when you can inspire somebody to do something that they would never, do on their own. Getting kids to believe in themselves and work on, and math is like that subject nobody wants to deal with.
Right.
It's almost like bringing broccoli to the park. You got to put some cheese on it or something like that to get the people to eat it. So just figuring out ways to get students to do the math, it was fun, and just working with the kids is something that I still do miss.
Yeah, it's certainly where you move into different phases in our lives. We certainly there's trade-offs.
I know, exactly.
Yeah, but certainly what you're doing now is important. You're working with adults.
Oh yeah, I love it though, man. I really love doing it.
Cool. So we talked earlier about, I guess, just some of the challenges of being a comedian. I guess, can you share some of those, especially for maybe someone who's listening, who's considering becoming a comedian? There are some challenges and some things that they can do maybe now to really help better prepare them for that.
I would probably say that one of the biggest things is like there's no certain path. It's like you kind of swim in your own race. Like, for instance, if I wanted to be a teacher, you go to school, you do these certain amount of years, you train, and you go teach. With comedy, that you just really don't know. You go, you write, you go to open mics, you perform. You don't know how long you'll be doing it in that phase, and eventually, hopefully, somebody will start paying you.
Right.
But really, just figuring out your path and what your goals are, and sticking to those, and is also figuring out the business side of it. Like, really, like we all want to be fun. The goal is to be funny, make people laugh, but also definitely have some business acumen as well. I think that's extremely important also.
Yeah, I totally agree. As far as being an entrepreneur, yes, no matter what you're doing, those same business fundamentals, those core principles, that apply across the board.
Absolutely. Because it was a time when I was performing, I felt like I was doing well, improving, but I'm like, okay, I'm getting these $25 handshakes and a drink, and I'm like, okay, I need to figure out how do you, genuinely really can make money doing what I do. How can I take these skills, these comedic skills, and genuinely make money, and that come from, having some business acumen, which I came from an educational background. So that was a large learning curve for me. But I would tell anybody to definitely find a mentor, read some books, or do something like that, and just learn some business sense, get some business sense as well.
Valuable advice. You mentioned earlier about taking the Dean Lewis class. What impact did that have on your career?
I think for me, it really just kind of showed me like, okay, like, you're funny, Byron. You're funny. This is something you should genuinely continue doing. Like, it pretty much just gave me the confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going on this road that, like I said, when I was younger, it was just kind of seemed like a fantasy and like something that was not real. But like taking that class, I did well in the class. I did well in the showcase, but it also introduced me to like the comedy scene in Dallas. Like, I didn't know about, the improvs, the Addison Improv. I didn't know that there were Hyenas clubs in the area, and there were actually comedians and comedy shows going on in Dallas. As to, when I was in Mississippi, there was literally nothing going on as far as comedy goes. It was just something I watched on TV and saw people doing. I could go places in Dallas and actually see people doing comedy and, headlining, touring comedians. I could see them on a regular basis coming through town. Like, okay, this is a real thing that I can do.
That confidence is integral to anything.
Everything.
You do. Yeah.
Everything.
Gotta have that confidence. And
I was just talking to my daughter the other day. She had a job interview. I'm talking to her. I always talk to her and my son about the handshake, the eye contact, and she had the little weak handshake, and I was like, we had to work on that. I was like, you got to exude confidence.
Right.
When she went in there, She said she went in with a good handshake, to good eye contact, and they called her that same day.
Wow.
She got the job. But I was like, it's confidence it's a game changer.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's be your greatest asset.
I'm telling you.
It's contagious. Once you exude that confidence, people want to be around you. They want some of it. They want to know your secret.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Being a stand-up comedian, you're putting yourself out there on stage.
Yeah.
So it's certainly gonna build confidence one way or another.
Absolutely. If you're not a lion, you better have a nice lion costume. You better have a nice costume, man.
That is true.
You gotta have confidence on that stage.
Cool, no doubt. So back to mentorship. What role have mentors played in your life, personally and professionally?
I think personally, mentorship has played a large role in my life, and especially even like when I was younger. Like I grew up without a father in my life. Like I just remember, some coaches that kind of stepped in that gap and gave me great advice or kind of instilled, confidence in me. I think back to like I had a Coach Holden in junior high and high school that just, was just always there, just dropping gems to the fellas. Like he knew the community we all came out of, and he would just always be there dropping gems or just staying late after practice, talking to us. His house was open to us. So personally, like definitely Coach Holden at a young age. I had great mentors when I started teaching, that kind of showed me the ropes when I was in Mississippi at Amanda Elzey's elementary school. That really kind of helped show me the ropes, and this is how you do what you do. And like in comedy, Dean Lewis is a person I really look to as a great mentor, now a friend. And just other people like the Aaron Arianpours, the Paul Vargheses in the area, Angela Walker, just people I could just kind of look to and go to for advice or just ask a question or just seek knowledge whenever, I'm going to a space or place or into something that is foreign to me. I can always reach out to them and talk to them about it. And just to kind of get their perspective, and they're always willing to share.
Right. That's so true. I've had the same experiences, and what's really important is what you mentioned as far as most time people are willing to share. They're willing to help you, especially if they see you trying to help yourself.
Absolutely.
So I tell people all the time, if they say, hey, where do I find a mentor? How do I find a mentor? Hey, just ask, open your mouth.
Yeah, it's almost like, if you're standing on the side of the road with your blinkers on, you're sitting in the car, nobody's going to stop, but if you get out and pop the hood and start looking out, somebody will probably stop and try to help you. You're trying to help yourself.
I love that analogy. Yeah. The saying go, a closed mouth don't get fed.
Yeah. Like the book, The Alchemist, it kind of speaks on like when you start, moving in your in the direction of your destiny, the universe starts working in your favor, and I think kind of that ties into it as well. And like when you say, even like you say, just speaking up and asking. A lot of people don't, won't even ask, but like that makes a difference because, you're seeking out the knowledge, and people, like you say, people are willing to help you.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times, depending on where someone grew up or their environment, but it can be counterintuitive to ask for help or because they want to seem vulnerable or whatever it may be. But I know that was something I had to reprogram myself where I was raised to try to do everything myself and not ask for help and not show vulnerability. But that was counterproductive for sure.
I'm the exact same way. I was the exact same way. If I had a learning curve I was trying to get over, I kind of try to go in my little bunker and try to figure it out myself and bang my head against the wall, and nothing would happen.
Yeah.
Just, made a phone call or went to see somebody or just shot out a quick email or text, and 5 minutes later, it's like, okay, there it is.
Exactly, yeah. Work smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
And also a good example, too, that you mentioned regarding mentors in the form of teachers, coaches. Just there's always, no matter how bad the environment, there's always some type of positive influence that's around it. So whether it's teachers or coaches or whatever it may be, they're there.
And like I spoke on, teachers, coaches, and people and comedians, but like sometimes it's just your peers, which the comedians are my peers as well. But like I remember it might not even just be talking. Sometimes it might just be the example you are,
Right.
Like I remember working at McDonald's and there was this guy named Derek Williams. And man, you got McDonald's. I'm 16, 17 and in an environment where a lot of people don't want to be there. They, hate the job.
Right.
Man, Derek came in there positive every day. He could crank out 24 Big Macs in like 30 seconds. And he was just always positive. Never said no. To me, that was mentorship as well. Like he was always positive. Would just work like phenomenal at a job nobody wanted. And I love him like, man, that's the type of mentality like you really just need to, succeed in life.
Yeah, that's true. And that's something that for me is kind of that I always followed in terms of lead by example.
Yeah.
Like I said, somebody just by watching, you don't never know who's watching. Someone's always watching.
Exactly.
And you can be setting that example for them. And whether it's going to be set a bad example or a good example, it's your choice.
Yeah, you will.
Certainly. But yeah, I don't think I've read that book, The Alchemist, yet.
Got an extra copy if you want one, man.
That's what you recommend?
If the dreamers get it, like anybody that's a dreamer going after something, they get it. Because I don't read a lot of fiction. I read a lot of nonfiction.
Yeah.
It's a fiction book, but man, it took me about, I say, a few pages to get it, what was going on. But once I got it, I couldn't stop reading. I was like, yeah, that's a great book.
Yeah, I rarely read fiction, but
I'm the same.
I'll take your advice if you say that's a good one.
If you want to check it.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. I'm an avid reader.
Okay.
Certainly. Speaking of reading, what would you say are some of your daily habits that you would attribute to your success?
I would probably just say just being consistent. Like I'm going to the coffee shop every morning and I'm going to write.
Okay.
I'm going to, work on truth and comedy. I'm going to email people about opportunities. I'm going to write sketches. I got a person I meet with like every Tuesday and I write with. Like I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to be like the San Antonio Spurs. Like you just know what you're going to get. I'm just like that old dog. Like I'm going to be consistent and I'm going to do the work. To be honest, like some people with comedians can be lazy.
Okay.
I'm just going to be dogged about, my processes and what I'm going to do. I'm just always going to be at it.
Yeah. That's one of the most important traits to have is that consistency. Yeah. That is the key.
Absolutely.
It's funny you mentioned about the analogy about it with a dog. That's something that I have a dog and it's just something I admire about dogs. They're consistent. Yeah. They have the same routine every day.
Every single day. Yeah, and if you try to disrupt it, they're not having it.
They don't run off emotion or how they feel. It's just every day. They're going to use the bathroom the same time. They're going to eat the same time.
Exactly.
You learn a lot from them. That consistency pays off for sure. Another thing I can relate to that we have in common is my mother. She passed away over 2 years ago now. But one of the things probably the most valuable gift she taught me or gave me is just to be able to always see that silver lining, always realize that it could always be worse. So really finding the good in everything. And like you say, no matter how bad things are, you can find comedy in it or you can find just laughter, release.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's worth its weight in gold.
It really is. Try not to have that woe is me attitude.
Right.
What's the positive in this?
Exactly. Once we start feeling sorry for ourselves, it's all downhill from there.
Snowballs.
Yeah. My wife and I are currently reading a book called The Secret.
Okay.
If you heard of that one.
Okay,
that's a good one. But it talks a lot about just the law of attraction, faith. If you look at things positively and are grateful, talk a lot about gratitude. So if you're grateful, then you're going to attract more of that positivity, more gratitude into your life. Yeah. But if you're negative and you're ungrateful, you're just going to attract more of that.
I know that's right.
That's something that I truly believe in.
I'm trying to think has there ever been times in my life where a negative perspective or attitude or just being down in the dumps, had a positive outcome? I just can't. I can't think of any time.
Nope. I can't either. Guess if somebody's trying to attract some sympathy or something like that.
I know, right? Get your pity party going.
Right. But in reality, successful people, they're not going to go for it. So it's just going to attract more like-minded people who looking for pity too.
Exactly.
Like you said, it's going to be a pity party. With Truth and Comedy, the last couple shows I attended, it seems like popularity certainly increasing, the words getting out. It's a great concept and you're doing great things. guess what's your vision for the future of Truth and Comedy?
My vision for it is like I want to keep doing the show at Full City Rooster, and I've also started taking the show and going to like companies and nonprofits and having individuals within their company tell their stories, and the comedians do the comedy as well. Like we just I did a show with Bond, the Brain Injury Network of Dallas.
Okay.
And did one with the Cohen Military Family Clinic. And I want to start taking it to places of people in need, like homeless shelters and women abuse centers,
Yep.
VA clinics, and just places people are being served that are in need. Have them tell their stories and, like I say, in a fun-loving environment, have a great time, but also let some of that baggage go. With just some form of PTSD relief.
Yeah.
But just take it to places like that. And I also wanted to, take it to a larger platform, maybe online or maybe with a network or something. But I've been speaking that to existence as well. And I'm working on some things so that I can take it to a larger platform as well. And maybe even I kind of want to even take it on the road too. So like those are like my 3 or 4 main goals right now with Truth and Comedy.
Wow. Possibilities are unlimited. Being a military veteran myself, I certainly can see the need for Truth and Comedy in that area. Be very helpful.
Oh yeah. Cohen Military Family Clinic, they the show that I did with them, they serve military veterans and their families, providing free mental health therapy sessions and things of that nature. And I had a real good time with the individuals that told their stories at the show, man. It was real fun. And I think everybody had a good time.
I'm sure. Yeah, certainly military, they have some stories to tell, but at the same time, they usually have a good sense of humor too. So that's a good combination.
It was fun. It was fun. A couple of the stories, like I kind of didn't really get, like there was a guy in the Marines and some of the things he was talking about, I didn't necessarily get, but the comedian that told his story was in the Marines too. So it was just like deja vu for him. And it was, everybody in there was just loving it. It was a fun show.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. But yeah, that's a good point. I forgot about that. Some things get lost in translation. Those military guys, they're all lingo. It's a whole different world.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I'm certainly excited to see the future of what you do with Truth and Comedy. I know you're going to be very successful at it.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
That's a good thing. You mentioned earlier about being a dreamer. What would you say are some characteristics that will make entrepreneurs successful?
I would say one is just being stubborn. Kind of when I started on my path, I kind of got, people kind of thought I was crazy. What are you doing? Even when I kind of talked about Truth and Comedy, it was, why would a comedian want to talk after somebody's been crying on stage or telling this story? But like I just knew what I wanted. I was stubborn enough to go after it. I would say another characteristic, like I say, would be consistency, positive energy, building relationships.
Oh, yeah.
Because like with me, I'm a very introverted person. Like I would say 9 times out of 10, I'm rarely the person that would be the initiator when it comes to conversate with somebody. But like this experience, has really taught me just to go out. You got to go out and talk to people. You just never know what their relationship will blossom into. Like most of my opportunities have come from just organic relationships with people.
Yep.
And just like, just being introduced to a lawyer just after a show was one of the storytellers' friends that I met and was getting to be on the show. They went to a bar and they called me like, come up to the bar. I got this person want to meet you.
Wow.
It was a lawyer who introduced me to another lawyer that, did all my trademarks and things with Truth and Comedy, but they were speaking to this guy who's a lawyer and teaches at UNT. And he loved the idea, but it was just off the relationship I had with those individuals.
Yep.
And I'm speaking, but like now I value connecting with people a lot more. Before I would just kind of, if somebody want to talk to me, cool. If not, cool. Now I look to engage, and just talk to people and just building relationships with people. I feel like is very helpful as well.
Yeah.
If any of that makes sense.
All of it makes perfect sense. And I'm new to being an entrepreneur. I officially launched in August.
Nice.
But I spend so much time networking. I realized just how important that is. Before I didn't. I was the same way. Naturally, I'm more introverted and I rarely would be the one to initiate a conversation. Just saying hello.
Yeah, it's huge.
Man, it's huge. Yeah, the relationships are everything.
You just never know.
Those are so critical,
Yeah.
especially when you're taking that leap of faith. You're doing something that's different. People are not going to see your vision immediately. They just can't see it. But yeah, you have to be stubborn and be willing to, if it's something you really want, you're going to do whatever it takes to turn that dream into reality.
Absolutely.
And usually that can be a good sign when people can't see your vision. I mean, hey, you're on to something. Yes, indeed. Something outside of the box. That's not ordinary.
Oh yeah. I love what you're doing too with Mentor Select, man. I really like what you're doing, connecting people, and
yeah, I appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. I get value from it, talking to people who love what they do. That's contagious, and then being able to have that platform where people can, no matter what their situation is, they can get quality mentorship, even though it's virtually. Hey, it's just as powerful.
But it's there.
Yep,
It's available.
exactly.
Yeah.
And also, I love the fact of interviewing people who have careers that's kind of like outside of the traditional type career, where it gives people, it exposes them to it, and they make that decision to realize, hey, I don't have to be XYZ. I can do anything.
You really can. Yeah. And what you said really didn't hit me until I had somebody hit me up to do a career day at a school, and I was like, oh wow, I guess, I guess I have, Okay, I'll be at the career day, just like you say, something outside the box. You don't necessarily look at it like a 9-to-5 job or something, but like, this is my career. This is what I'm doing. This is my path, that I'm pursuing.
Guess when I know you mentioned your family man, your husband and father. How do you balance career and family?
Since I've stopped teaching, I've gotten a lot better. There was a time where I can say that I definitely was probably not as balanced as I should have been. But now, since I can focus in on, I'm only doing comedy, like it's wife, it's kids, then it's comedy. There was a time where I know my wife was probably looking at me like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you're out every night, but what's really going on? But, looking from her perspective, I had to find that balance. And like, I'm going to make sure that, I'm taking the kids to school, I'm having time spending with my wife. We do our date nights, or, I'm a fellowship at the house with the family if I have shows or anything going on. So that balance is definitely important. And I look up, my kids are getting older. This time that I have with my wife and my kids is precious. So I had to find a way to find that balance and make it work for everybody involved.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's critical. I always say being a great leader, it starts at home, or success starts at home. If you compartmentalize it where you're successful in your career, but your home is broken, then that's a bad.
Not gonna work at all.
Yeah, that's not gonna work. It's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
It's a challenge. Now that you can't focus on just comedy, as you're seeing things really progress faster now.
I have. That first, I say 6 to 9 months was real tough because I'm laying the concrete, laying the
Yep.
Like I said, I was getting those $25 handshakes and those drink tickets. But like
paying your dues.
Exactly. But within that time, like I really figured out, like I said, the type of comedy I wanted to do, and I started really focusing in on truth and comedy. And like I just stuck with that with laser-like precision, because at one point when I first figured out like that I wanted to do comedy that connects people and has a profound impact, I had 4 different things I wanted to do, and I still plan on doing, but I was trying to do them all at the same time.
Right.
And like my mother used to always tell me, you can't obey multiple masters.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, let me knock out one at a time. So I've really just started focusing on truth and comedy, along with, the other regular stand-up shows that I do. But I really started focusing on truth and comedy, and it started to pick up and get a following, and people are inquiring about bringing it to their businesses. And like, I've been really pleased at the way that it's grown. And like you said, I really think it's because I've been able to focus on it more. Like I'm able to take that time during the day, at night or just whenever, to work solely on that, or go and sit with a storyteller, or just email people and like just really pay attention to detail. Taking that leap is really affording me the ability to do.
Yeah. I had the vision of what I wanted to do like a year ago. And I talked to my wife, and we were kind of making that strategic plan. and I decided that I was going to resign from my job in cybersecurity in this upcoming January, but I ended up getting laid off in June.
Yeah.
So that ended up being like, okay, a blessing in disguise. Like, okay, now I can really focus and it's no excuses.
Mm-hmm.
So certainly been a blessing in disguise, but at the same time, it's been, taking that leap and just putting that fear to the side and say, hey, I'm going to make this happen.
On this path that you're on, now being that you're on your path with Mentor Select, how hard would it be for you to go back to a 9 to 5?
As far as just getting a job, that'd be easy, but mentally, oh no, that'd be extremely hard.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, completely. It's a different. You have to completely recondition your mind, and that's tough. And like you pointed out, there's so many things that you get to do because you're focused on comedy. You don't have those distractions of a 9 to 5. You just wouldn't be able to do both at the same time fully.
Not at all.
Yeah, you could have a contact hit you up and say, hey, I want to meet at such and such time during the day over here. I got a good opportunity for you.
I'm there.
You'll say, you got to wait till I get off work. And the opportunities will pass you up. So you got to be ready, definitely.
Yeah, and time is probably one of the biggest lessons I've learned. Like the path that I'm on now, like I'm working harder, smarter and harder, but I'm working more, but I truly enjoy it,
Yeah.
And I can shape out my time. Like if my daughter got a volleyball game, my son got karate practice, and me, my wife got something going on, we want to go, like I can do it. Like I shape my time. I remember one time my son got sick when I was teaching, and like I had to get permission to leave. My son's, I just gotta call my son sick. I got to get permission for somebody to cover my class, not knowing how long that's gonna take.
Right.
I don't have those restrictions now.
Yeah.
If my son's sick, I'm on my way.
Yeah.
Just time, how precious it is.
I was reading a book. I can't remember the name of it, but we talked about like how the guy had laid off, and he was like, he realized after that point, like he had never put his destiny in somebody else's hands.
Yeah.
That's what inspired him to become an entrepreneur. And that's really what it is. As an entrepreneur, your destiny is in your hands.
You do what you feel.
Yeah, exactly.
You do what you feel.
That comes at its cost, but it certainly has its rewards as well.
Absolutely.
So I'll tell you, like I say, it's no going back once you're really committed.
That's what I was, telling my wife. Sometimes you just got to jump in that deep water. I could drown. There's bigger fish out there too.
Yeah.
And I don't plan on drowning.
Exactly. And what helped me a lot for my 30th birthday, my wife, we went skydiving.
Oh, wow.
And, just that experience, surviving skydiving, it's like nothing else is going to put fear in my heart where I'm not willing to take that leap. Once you jump out of a plane, you're like, hey, anything else, any other fear is going to pale in comparison.
Oh, wow. I know that's right.
And the same with jumping in the pool. And I just jump straight in, putting your feet in first and just
I'll go in.
Just jump in, you figure it out for sure.
Yeah, that's what my like I said, forget the fear. I learned that one of my improv teachers when I was taking improv classes, Tim Yeager, he used to say that. He didn't say forget, he used another word instead of forget, but he was like, forget the fear,
right.
You'll figure out the landing on the way down. Like he always used to do that. And he was talking about doing improv, in scenes, but like that's something like I really took to heart.
Yeah.
I want to apply that to life. Like that's a life lesson right there.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. The desire has to outweigh the fear if you want something bad enough. Yeah. You brought up another good point too, like doing that first 6 to 9 months a year. It's kind of like research and development. You're trying to figure things out and you just don't know yet, but it seems like you could be wasting a lot of time. But in reality, that's the research and development phase.
Oh, yeah.
And once you figure it out, then things can really take off.
Big time.
Doubt about it. Definitely. So you mentioned writing. Are you writing any books, or it was more so referring to jokes?
More so referring to jokes and sketches and things of that nature.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Definitely a funny guy. I enjoy watching you perform. But yeah, Byron, it's been a pleasure having you on the Mentor Select podcast. Before we let you go, do you have any parting words of advice for our listeners?
I guess, Derek, the only thing I would just say, man, forget the fear and jump. If you really believe in something, go make it happen. And you only need one person to believe in it, and that's you. And I appreciate you so much for the opportunity. I thoroughly enjoyed this.
Good advice, because even in the context of going from a job to be an entrepreneur, hey, the worst could happen. Hey, you fail, and hey, that job's going to be there. Jobs ain't going nowhere.
First come to serve, you see me in somebody's classroom.
Exactly. Got a backup plan, certainly. All right. So Byron, how can listeners get in contact with you? Want to reach out?
You can reach out to me. I'm on all social media, Byron Stamps, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. They can hit me straight email, I guess, old school bwstamps80
okay.
at gmail.com. If somebody wants to tell a story on the show or check out Truth and Comedy, I'd love to have people, tell their truth. You can reach me at any of those that I said before, or truthandcomedydfw at gmail.com. That's truthandcomedy, IN, comedy at dfw at gmail.com.
Yeah, I highly encourage people to reach out to you and get on your show, share their truth, and certainly come out and check out the show. It's a great experience.
Any storytellers, any artists as well. If there are any artists in the area, you want to tell your truth or you want to be a featured artist, just reach out.
I was talking to one of my friends. I think she's going to be on your show. I think in February she mentioned Karen Bright.
Okay, she did reach out to me. Yeah, she did.
Yeah, she has a incredible story.
Yeah, as soon as when she told me what she wanted to talk about, I was like, "This is gonna be great."
I can't wait to come check her out. Yeah, she's doing some great things as well.
February 2nd, I think. Yes.
Awesome. Yeah,
she's got a great story.
All right, Byron, appreciate it, man. Take care. Keep doing what you're doing. You're definitely impacting lives and making a difference.
Thank you so much, Jared. Keep doing what you're doing too, man.
I appreciate it.
All right, now.
Wow, that was a fun interview. Big thanks to Byron Stamps for coming on, sharing his story, letting us know the journey that he has been on since he left the classroom, and now he's delivering a different brand of comedy that is connecting and impacting people. I certainly love it. The first time I went to his comedy show, I was blown away by the experience. So I'm pretty sure if you've never experienced a Truth and Comedy style event, check it out. I know today they have their 2-year anniversary show. So that's going to be a big time show where they're going to bring out the best of the best of storytellers and comedians. Be sure to check out in the links the show. Special thanks to you all for listening this week. I'll be back next week with another inspirational interview with a guest mentor.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Mentor Select podcast, helping you identify and follow your passions. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit mentorselect.com and Mentor Select on social media. If you enjoyed today's episode, please rate and review. We'll catch you next time.